Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the occupant of four winds, preaching the truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Through your father, and have come back to the fold. Right? Shalom to the sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. Shalom. Hey, this your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. And it says Fortune Well, right? By CVS Health, right? For the CV19. Well, it says the CV isn't just infecting you, it could be reactivating viruses that have been dormant in your body for years, right? And this was December 26th, 2022, at 4 a.m. It says CV19 can cause, reservoirs of some viruses you've previously battled to reactivate, right? Potentially lead to symptoms of chronic faculty symptoms, a what is it, a condition that resembles long CV19, and recent studies found, right? So now they got a thing saying that it's supposed to resemble long term. I don't know. They're saying it's like a long symptom of of the C of the Crown Vicky. You know what I mean? You know. So, but like if you see this is like got the so-called viruses or whatever, germs or whatever, the little green things that's floating, and who's standing before the thing? A Judite woman, right? And you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians have been the face of this whole thing with this, this thing, this Icky Vicky, right? That with the jump shot, with the, the hokey pokey, you know, you know, and because I worked on a reservation, and the reservations got hit pretty hard. Up north, well, you got the Navajo reservation got hit pretty hard by it. You got a one that's down south from that, which is in Arizona, called they're the Hohokums, but basically they call themselves Pima or Salt River, and they got hit pretty hard. And you already know what happened to you so-called Negroes. You know what I'm saying? They were showing you videos of nurses saying that they were trying to kill you, right? So we're back to that stage where they were going to bring this back on the world stage, right? To lock the world down at once more, and this time it's going to get a lot more drastic, right? It says but right here it goes into you you could you had this CV19 a few months ago and recovered, but things still aren't quite right. When you stand up, you feel dizzy. See, so it's almost like that. I don't know that comedian. I think it was Cat Williams, but it was a comedian that said something about like, yeah, you watch the commercial, and then it's talking to you, and you, hey, do you feel lonely? Have you ever felt, I don't know, tired? Do you do you ever feel the need, the sudden urge to be sleepy? You know what I'm saying? Or it goes into these like regular symptoms that things that happen on a daily basis, but then you be like, yeah, you know what, I do, and you're like self-diagnosing yourself from this thing, from just this commercial and the way that it presents itself, so this is almost kind of like that, hey, hey, you get, hey, you feel dizzy and like this, and oh, that could be that, or it could be long term, the CV19, although maybe it's possibly this, because really they're gonna go into something, watch it, they they basically they're trying to control and they tell you how you supposed to feel, or what it could be, so you could think, oh well, maybe it's this, maybe it's not that. They make the whole world get something that wasn't gonna help you, you know. But now that it's having adverse things, let's say some of these effects. So you're never really pointing the finger at us, right? And you can't sue them anyway. If you took it, you took this. You know what I mean? That's all it is. If you took the jump shot, you took the jump shot. So you're done. So I mean that is it. You mean there ain't no reversing that thing. When you stand up, you feel dizzy, and your heart races like a even routine tasks leave you feeling spent. Spent. And what was once a night's sleep, a good night's sleep, like it, no longer feels refreshing, right? So, oh my God. So I don't know if a lot of other people who took the jump shot is not getting any sleep. So now all of a sudden they're, hey, have you ever felt like this? Long term, basically saying like a long term CV19, right? Like saying that could it be that you're still sick from the CV, the Crown Vicky, right? You could be still sick from that, right? It may not be so simple, right? A middle mid mild, just like a mild or even asymptomatic case of the Crown Vicky can cause reservoirs of some viruses you previously battled to reactivate. Oh wow! So now they're saying, look, it could be um, these other things that you've had. It can't be that we forced this upon the whole world, and now it's that that you got freaking 20-year-olds dropping dead, and it's not just one or two. Like you can skip that off as hey, things happen here and there, but you're talking world class athletes dropping dead all of a sudden from this stuff. Like, hey man, you're talking about a dude got hit in the nose and the blood's coming out yellow or orange or whatever. I mean, hey, you know, so uh, what was I? Yeah, reactivate. Potentially lead to symptoms of chronic fatigue, um, syndrome. Yeah, Chronic fatigue syndrome. What was that? Okay, syndrome. A condition that resembles long, you know, Crown Vicky, right? According to a recent study, right, published in the journal um, for Fortuna for frontiers in was it says you know, but right here it goes into you you could you had, you know, this, you know, CV19 a few months ago and recovered, but things still aren't quite right. When you stand up, you feel dizzy. See, so it's almost like that. I don't know that comedian. I think it was Cat Williams, but it was a comedian that said something about like, yeah, you watch the commercial, and then it's talking to you, and you, hey, do you feel lonely? Have you ever felt, I don't know, tired? Do you do you ever you know, feel the need, the sudden urge to be sleepy? You know what I'm saying? Or you know, it goes into these like regular symptoms that things that happen on a daily basis. But then you be like, yeah, yeah, you know what, I do, you know, and you like self-diagnosing yourself from this thing, you know, from just this commercial and the way that it presents itself, you know. So this is almost kind of like that, you know. Hey, you know, hey, you get, hey, you ever feel dizzy and be like this, and oh, you know, that could be that, or it could be long term, the CV19, or maybe it's possibly this, because really they're gonna go into something, you know. Watch, you know, they they basically they're trying to control and they tell you how you supposed to feel, or what it could be, so you could think, oh well, maybe it's this, maybe it's not that. They make the whole world get something that wasn't gonna help you, you know. But now that it's having adverse things, let's say some of these effects. So you're never really pointing the finger at us, right? And you can't sue them anyway. If you took it, you took this. You know what I mean? That's all it is. If you took the jump shot, you took the jump shot. So you're done. So I mean, that is it. You mean there ain't no reversing that thing. When you stand up, you feel dizzy, and your heart races like a, even routine tasks leave you feeling spent, spent, and what was once a night's sleep, a good night's sleep, like it, no longer feels refreshing, right? So, oh my god. So I don't know if a lot of other people who took the, you know, the jump shot is not getting any sleep. So now all of a sudden they're, hey, have you ever felt like this? Long term, basically saying a long, like a long term CV19, right? Like saying could it be that you're still sick from the, you know, the CV, the you know, the Crown Vicky, right? You could be still sick from that, right? It may not be so simple, right? A middle mid mild, it's like a mild or even asymptomatic case of, you know, the Crown Vicky can cause reservoirs of some, you know, viruses you previously battled to reactivate. Oh wow! So now they saying, look, it could be these other things that you've had. You know, it can't be that we forced this upon the whole world, and now it's that that you got freaking 20-year-olds dropping dead, and it's not just one or two. Like, you know, you can skip that off as, you know, hey, you know, things happen here and there, but you're talking world class athletes dropping dead all of a sudden from this stuff. Like, hey man, you're talking about a dude got hit in the nose and the blood's coming out yellow or orange or whatever. I mean, hey, you know, so uh, what was I? Yeah, reactivate. Potentially lead to symptoms of chronic fatigue, um, syndrome. Yeah, chronic fatigue syndrome. What was that? Okay, syndrome. A condition that resembles long, you know, Crown Vicky, right? According to a recent study, right, published, posted in Journey Frontiers in Immunology. So it's basically saying, according to this new research, the Journey Frontiers Immunology, they know that all this is all, it ain't really that, you know. But really, it's all to keep you confused. You know what I mean? You know, saying it could be from a long term, this and that, or it could be from previous uh, things that happened to you. Well, what happened to the people who have never had previous? What about the little children that you're giving it to, who haven't had a previous virus? Come on now. But yet they're still dropping dead from these same type of symptoms that you're talking about. They're still not getting good night sleeps. They're still getting fatigued and tired. Hey, you know. But this is the way in the road that you're going down. Yeah. So this is Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan, which Satan means adversary, means your enemy, right? It's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about a man, right? Shall be loose out of prison, right? So the spiritual demon Satan can't be put into a prison. He works for the Lord. Let's go ahead and prove that it's talking about a man, right? This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. How are thus fallen from heaven, right? Which is dealing with their rulership, right? Because the self-proclaimed so-called white man, which is Esau, Edom, right? This is his heaven, right? And it says, "Oh Lucifer," right? Light bearer, because they're dealing with the, you know, the left-hand side, which is, you know, the left-hand side got light too, you know, because it's coming from the Most High. So there's light in it, which deals with wisdom, right? But that wisdom is of you know, on the left hand side, wickedness, right? The son of the morning, right? Which is basically speaking about their rulership, right? Because who's the son of our morning, right? It's basically saying when the Lord, when Yahweh Shai is in rulership, he's gonna be the morning star. He's gonna be in rulership. Yahweh Shai will be the light bearer. The light bearer, which will basically mean Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, will be Lucifer, the light bearer. Basically in rulership. That's basically all that's saying. How are thus cut down to the ground, right? Which did weaken the nations, right? And the spiritual demon did weaken nations in a certain degree, but who did he do it by? By the self-proclaimed so-called white man, by what? The border of wickedness, which is Esau, Edom. For thus has said in thy heart, that means lob, mind, heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of power, which dealing with Yahweh Shema Shai. I will set, right, and also, the Israelites, right? Because, where, there's the Lord, the Father, and then his people, but they can't really do nothing to the Most High. So what do they normally do? They normally afflict the people of the Most High, because they're angry with the Most High. And you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are the people of the Most High. I will set also upon the mount of the congregation. See, and that proves that it's talking about the Israelites also. In the sides of the north, which is talking about what? North America, right? And that's going to take place in what we're going to read right here. And I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. See, so, and this is going into why they're using this so-called health thing, right? Also going into your carbon footprint and all this other stuff. Now all of a sudden, these people, all they did was make money off of you killing your body, killing yourself. Cigarettes, alcohol, this, that, drugs. I mean, how many wars, right? With the it was in Nicaragua. I think it was Nicaragua where they got busted about the Freeway Rick, and he basically, that money they were using was funding the war in Nicaragua, right? To you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. So they care about you. Now you must be the first one to get the hokey pokey, because we care so much about the downtrodden. But they the one who downtrodden you. But okay, hey, yes, congregation of the north, which is dealing with America, and who I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High, right? And that's going into that the MOTB, right? That digital technology where you're gonna buy and sell, and if you don't have it, right, you ain't gonna be able to go. You're gonna be able to do nothing, because why? They're gonna be able to see, monitor everything, and know everything about you, right? Yet thus shall be brought down to hell, right, which is a low condition. Hell is not a burning place in hell. I mean, in the ground, called hell. No, hell is going to be a low condition, right? They're going to be into slavery to the sides of the pit. They that see thee, right? So who gonna be seeing you? You're gonna be in hell, in the burning place, and people gonna see you. And when they see you, shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, "Is this the man?" No, that's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about this is a man. Hell is not a burning place in the ground. It's going to be a low condition that they're going to be put in, and everybody's going to see, hey, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and that did shake kingdoms, right? During the bombs of dropping Fat Boy and Little Man from near Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then a couple other cities too, because they don't tell you about how many more other cities that they actually dropped that at in Japan, and other strategic places that they dropped it in, right? That made the world as a wilderness, right? And that's ultimately what they're doing right now. They're making the world, because of the so-called supply demand, the supply chain, right? It's messed up. They're making the world a wilderness. Because really what it is, it's man-made, it's self-inflicted, a supply chain command, right? Made the world a wilderness and destroyed cities thereof that open not the house of his prisoners, right? Because what we woke up, we know that we're the Israelites. They could easily just say, you know what, you got us. You know what it is. We're gonna go in and put you, but they don't want to open the doors of their prison. Nope, they want to digitally mark you. They want to digitally they want to put a digital all in you, right? Yeah. So now that you know that it's not talking about the spiritual demon, Satan is talking about a man. Is this the man that make? Matter of fact, let's just do this real quick, so you know.
Strong's G 4567, Satanas, Satanas. Thayer's Lexicon, Satan, Satan.
Yeah, Satan. Shaitan. Shaitan is how you're supposed to say it. Shaitan is actually how it's meant to be said in the Hebrew. Shaitan, right? Which basically means adversary or your enemy. It says adversary, right? And I guess you could say, oh, the spiritual. No, he's not. He's not an adversary to God. He's an adversary to you, right? The spiritual demon Satan. But then he has a physical counterpart, just like the Most High has a physical counterpart on earth that's supposed to represent him, right? Which is his people. So it says, adversary one who opposes another's position, and that's our position is to be righteous, and the self-proclaimed so-called white man's position is to be the wicked, right? They're the border of wickedness, matter of fact. And then right here, it says right here, a Satan-like man. See, that's the self-proclaimed so-called white man. He's a Satan-like man because what? He's the physical counterpart of Satan to represent him on earth, right? Yeah. And he ain't gonna just sit there and tell you, hey, how you doing? I'm Satan. I'm your enemy. Which he tells you that every day. He hangs you, he shoots you, he burns you, he took over your land, did all sorts of things, gave you smallpox, did the goddamn Tuskegee experiment on you, and he done all sorts of atrocities, killed you, burned you, put your towns at the bottom of man-made lakes, try to cover up that you even existed in these places, cover up the time that you had plenty of money and you had all sorts of things, and then turn around, kill you, rape you, take all your money all over again, and say, hey, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Hey, that's definitely an adversary. That's definitely I would say that person is Satan, right? But then they want to tell you, hey, just take this icky vicky, everything's gonna be okay. He says, and shall go out and deceive the nations, right? So he's not gonna just tell you that he's Satan. He has to go out and deceive you, which are in the four corners of the earth, man. And what are they ruling, man? By the power of the sword, which that was his gift that Isaac gave him through the blessing. He said you should have the fatness of the earth, which is the four corners of the earth, by the fatness of by the sword. You have the whole fatness of the earth by the sword, right? Gog and Magog to gather them together to the battle, right? And the Lord is preparing World War III, right? Which is the beast system, which is NATO, EU, and America, to battle against what? Gog and Magog, which are the Russians. And the Lord said what? If Satan cancels out Satan, their kingdom shall not stand. And that's ultimately what the Lord is setting up, that Satan is going to war against Satan. They're going to battle against each other. The number of whom is as the sands of the sea, right? They're gonna set them to what? To battle against the Israelites, man. Which are gonna go into what? This Jacob's trouble, and they're gonna use their fancy schmancy what is it so-called World Health Organizations, right? Now they care about your health. Now they care about the economy, as they spent years and years polluting and doing all sorts of things to the economy, I mean, and to the environment, I mean, and the economy, right? Who takes the gold, backs your money up by gold, and then all of a sudden takes it off from backing it up, right? These are the things that they have done. What? To deceive you. Yeah. So this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. See, and that's that the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the fat boy and little man that came down on Japan, man, and that shook the whole world and made everybody afraid, man. They just, man, right? You shook up kingdoms, right? And deceived them that dwell on the earth, right? That's what they were here to do. Yeah, we're not the Edomites. Hey, see, don't you see that God, like on the Malcolm X movie? Can't you tell God is white? Yeah, I can see that's an image, just a picture, but we know that region, what people were predominantly dark people. I mean, we know that, but a lot of you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you still fall under that the deception of being deceived. Deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he did had power to do in the sight of the beast, right? NATO, EU, right? And then what America, saying unto them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast, right? Which is the Roman, the Roman Parliament, right? The Roman, the Flavian and Patrician, right? Having their so-called democracy system set up all over the world. Like even Japan, after they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they have like a parliament. They have a prime minister or president type thing that runs the thing. And yeah, which is pretty much set up the same way that it was, even though it's not called a president, it's called a prime minister, but it's pretty much the same way it is in America, the same way it is in Israel, the same way that it is in England, right? Which are all these Edomites, right? And the same thing where it is in Gog and Magog, right? Russia, which where all these Edomites are at, right? But they made the world follow their thing, you know. So it says, Salakia, yeah, in the sight of the beast, saying unto them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast which had the wound by the sword, which is the Roman Empire had the wound by the sword and did live, right? And they came back. Like I said, through NATO, EU, and America, they came back. It's a thing they call what? The Roman Treaty, right? Right? And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, right? And you got, what do you have now? You're coming into the time of the Roman system becoming digital, right? Like I was telling my daughter, she haven't seen that Demolition Man, and I was showing her how in Demolition Man, the guy, they wake him up from the cryogenesis of being frozen, and then they bring him into this thing, and then he made a cuss word, and the machine spit out the ticket and say, yeah, you now have a ticket for a violation of section code blah 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 blah. But you're actually starting to have that AI system slowly but surely come into this thing, and it's gonna speak. There's gonna be an AI that comes and gives you a ticket, allowing their democracy, their system, you know, their laws that they set up to speak, man, to tell you that, hey, you got to have this thing engraven into you, right? Which we ain't got to that part yet. Which we're gonna, I'm gonna get to the juicy part in a minute. Speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, right? And hopefully that's us, man. That's hopefully, we're the elect, man. Because hey, some of us are gonna be killed, and we're gonna be willing to either die, but we die every day, man. We die every day anyway. You know what I mean? Because we love not our lives unto death, man. If it comes down to that, because this ain't living, man. This is not under the right vibration. What the vibration you live is deceit. It's telling you that they deceived the whole world, right? You're living in biblical times. You know, they were, hey, that's in the Bible. What you don't know is you're living in biblical times more now than ever. And causeth all, wait, this is the juicy part. It causeth all, both small and great. You know, whether you're old, you're young, you're so-called mighty man. You're so-called crippled in a goddamn wheelchair. Yeah, whether you're small or you're great, whether you're rich or poor, free or bond, to receive a mark, right? Charagma, in their right hand or in their forehead, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, right? And I wasn't even gonna put this in my lesson because this was supposed to be something else, but at the same time, this is actually leading to that, obviously, because that's the way the spirit made it come out. You know what I mean? This is that direction that they're leading to that. So, matter of fact, let's I'm just gonna go through it real quick. No charagma, right? A stamp or imprinted mark, right? I'm not gonna go two things on it. I'm just gonna kind of brush you up. It says you know, a pale, a stake, a palisade, um, right? Because a stake or palisade was a sharp to was it to sharpen to a point. So it's gonna be something that has a very sharp point, right? To basically to put this mark in you, right? To put this mark. You know what I mean? But in that mark, or that, what did it say? The first one, it says charagma, a stamp. But matter of fact, I'm gonna have to go back to that real quick. But it's gonna come through a sharp point, right? Which we know it'll be a needle. Let's just say it that way. And it says or whatever means they have, but it has to, because it has to go in, deeper than the skin, because when you think of, matter of fact, when you think of the thing, when it says the point, and matter of fact, let me see if I can go back to this real quick. When you said palisade, right? And the palisade is like a stake that you got to dig into you put it in the ground. It's a point, you put it in the point, and you hit thing into the ground. Well, did you know that the Lord made you from the dust? So what's gonna prick you, like going in below the ground, like going in below, you know what I mean? But to a point, and it looked like they almost want to say skin right here, a akin to, or idea of scratching, right? So it's gonna be, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of. But let me go ahead and go to the next, because I want to spend too much time, because you ought to know this stuff, man. Because it's basically, we know what it is. It's hey, this is grapho, right? Because once you get on there, it's gonna have information, grapho, written, or with reference to the form of letters, right? So it's gonna have information on it when it gets there. You know what I mean? When it gets to, it's gonna have information. See right here, written down records. It's gonna have records on it. Where's that one? Characters written to express in written characters. Well, when you deal with computers, we're going into the modern technology. Like I was saying, the AI, going into the modern technology. It's gonna have characters and things that can remember. Let me see if I can find something. Fortune. Yeah, engraven. Yeah, but basically, it's the thing is gonna have information, which we know everything is going to what digital currency, right? So you're going to a digital currency world. So you know what I mean. These are the things that they're using. Yeah, with all that, I want to give all praises and our honor and our glory unto Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who were well. Citation to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through their father, Shalom. To the sisters, the Akwathium, who listen and learn under their husband, which is their spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Bible ball.